Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
All right, TGIF, welcome you to today's very special one. Every edition of this program is very interesting. That, Friday has its own vibes. And with that, I welcome you to Morning Spring today. Femi Ojo is my name, and Morning Spring is where we look into critical matters, issues of public importance. So we have these conversations with policymakers, opinion makers, as well, joining us to have informed conversations, informed opinions about these issues. And we do this with the aim of having a better and a working society, by extension, a working and a better Nigeria. That's what we do here every weekday. Thank you for joining us again for the last one for this week. It's been an interesting week, by the way. A bit of, hither and thither, roller coaster. Good news, not so good, but then such is life. Once again, thank you for joining us. EVELYN, good morning.
Good morning, Femi.
Right.
TGIF this day, thank God it's Friday, and it's my best day of the week. My name is EVELYN OHIOLEI. Thank you so much for joining us on the last installment of Morning Spring for the week. We appreciate you, for being with us all through the month, making us part of your morning routine. We cannot trade that for anything.
Yeah.
And Femi, talking about bad news, while people celebrated, jubilated the victory of the Super Eagles into the finals on Wednesday, there were, shouts of sorrow, cries, and some other quarters because people actually passed on while watching that particular match, and one of such is an APC chieftain, Dr. Cairo Ojugbo.
Yeah.
We heard that he slumped at the second penalty kick where Nigeria conceded, and it's a sad one because, nation celebrated. Meanwhile, in his own home, it's all sadness and sorrow. Right. And of course, we also heard that another person, an NYC core member, also slumped and died when South Africa scored their equalizing goal. It's a sad one. It is a sad one indeed. And you would agree with me, Femi, that the match was a very, very tensed one. If you are not strong enough, really, you would have your heart in your mouth. That's talking in context now. And that also speaks to you knowing the state of your health before you are part of certain activities.
Right. That's why I said it was the week has been quite an eventful one, especially 2 days ago, 2 evenings ago, when the Eagles took on the Bafana, and everybody was happy with the result of the game. Nigerians being in the final, talking about Super Eagles, but then only for us to be hearing of the passing away of these people. Like it was reported, like 4 of them really who passed out in different circumstances, but during the match, like after the equalizing goal, we learned somebody, passed away. Cairo Ojugbo, he was formerly a rep, a member of the National Assembly, but he was very popular. Well, if I may use that word, he became more known during the NDDC saga. Yeah. He was chairman of the NDDC at some point, so then we learned he passed away. 4 of them, you said it, a core member that was serving as well. The All Progressives Congress, APC, chieftain, that's Dr. Cairo Ojugbo, the deputy bossa, Kwara State University, Malete, Ayuba Abdullahi, and a core member. Then we learned one Anambra-born businessman, Osondu Nwoye, based in Cote d'Ivoire, also was reported to have died, to have collapsed inside the stadium while watching the match and died later in hospital. It was quite, just like you said, adrenaline pumping and sapping one, that match on that day. And many persons have been talking, the presidency have reacted to that, many well-meaning Nigerians to say, Okay, you know, life happens, by the way, but please take care of yourself and take care of your health.
Yeah.
And wherever, it doesn't have to be football match, whatever activity you are going to do and you know you are not caught out for, maybe. We are not victim blaming right now. We are not blaming the people that have died. We are just saying, if actually, you know, something might be difficult, you know, maybe you should just tone it down a bit. The Super Eagles, duly, by the way, made a post about them. And they say, during the course of our semi-final match, we tragically lost a few supporters. In a cruel twist of fate, the fervent passion for the beautiful game unwittingly led them to their final moment. As the Nigeria versus South Africa match unfolded, they were lost in the thrill of the game, unaware of the looming danger. May their souls find eternal peace, forever remembered for their love of football and the togetherness it brings. Rest in peace. You know, the picture of the Super Eagles was there in black, you know, showing that they support these people. And I think for the Eagles, it gives you more reasons that you must win the final, you know, at least for yourselves, for the nation,
also to honor
and then the memory of these people that have died in the line of supporting the Eagles. Many people have underlying ailment. Sure that it's not only that day that they became sick, something was wrong somewhere, you know. Our hearts and thoughts are with them. By the way, before we go to the papers, many persons are shouting right now, even you and I here knows that there is a challenge of food security. And it seems for the last 2-3 days, everything on everybody's lips is about food security. It's like we are in a dire challenge that cannot be denied again. EVELYN, the security dimension is a huge part. Food, so what becomes our Lord? This is February, EVELYN.
Well, food security, insecurity, and it's worthy of note that they are connected. Insecurity, in a way, causes food shortage because where we get the food, the farmers can go to the farm. So we have to fix insecurity and also work on our food security. It's important. They say hungry people are hungry people. And Nigerians are not having it this time. They really want something done, some things put in place so that they can at least get the basics. I say this all of the time: food, clothing, shelter, and, you know, some other basics.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, just like you said, they are both connected. When the people are not secure, they can't go to farm. When they can't go to farm, the few that can go there, you know, they will only produce so much, so little. And by the way, that one will be very expensive as well. Then inflation sets in, people cannot afford to eat, crime sets in, and the cycle continues. Whoever is responsible, let's place to the needful right now. And good news, the people, you know, that were abducted from the GIG boss and the, I think, ABC, 2 transport companies, we learned they will be released yesterday. Two boss, full loaded boss that were abducted, you know, earlier in the week, they have been released. But you know, except miracle happens, those persons will have parted the way with a huge amount of money, even if any agency of the government would deny that these are the issues as well. We'll go on this break. When we come back, we head straight to the papers. We'll be back. All right, let me start from the front page of The Guardian newspaper. But then Ladeji is here. Ladeji Alabi, good morning.
Good morning to you, Femi.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on the show again. Maybe EVELYN will go and collect her own from the Bafana goalkeeper.
Why so? She's the host. She's hosting you here.
She's not hosting me here. I know what she did that night.
What did I do?
She should go and collect her own good morning from Williams.
Are you inferring by any chance that she was anti-Eagles on the night?
Aside from...
I praised the South African goalie.
After the result, okay.
So he had an issue with that.
Since she said it now, Femi even went on a bet with me that the South African goalkeeper will save one of our penalties. And I told her it won't happen. It did not happen.
And it didn't happen.
And this young woman went on to, to beavers me in the conversation.
What does
We'll
it
talk
mean
about
by
that.
We'll get to that. But by the way, God works in a mysterious way.
Well,
by
of
the
course,
way.
yes, of course.
That's it. And congratulations to us.
Yeah.
We are
of
just
course.
meeting on the program for
Yes,
that.
yes,
And all the best to the boys in the final. Now, of course, interestingly, that's the first big story for Guardian on the front page. Road to AFCON. How Super Eagles defied odds, doubts to qualify for 10 billion naira CAF prize. All right, interesting one. It sounds interesting, exciting. 10 billion naira. We hope if we win, hopefully, if we do, we won't have issues on this money, because we are not too forgetful of how handlers of our teams can be when it has to do with money. But all the best. And the insert is there of Stanley Nwabali. That's the happening boy, the star boy right now, in that paper. ECOWAS foreign ministers meet to resolve Senegal, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger crisis. And government orders release of 102,000 metric tons of rice and maize. Women farmers denied receiving 15 trillion agri intervention. Right, page 7. Labour intensifies pressure, gives federal government 14 days to address hardship and hunger. Fashola wants constitution review to allow states determine minimum wage and deal with insecurity urgently. Go on. CSN tell Tinubu as a Council of State. And of course, the federal government deploys troops to tackle bandit orders in AQT. That's the front page of the Guardian. Ladeji here. We've had so much talk about the Eagles, so I won't talk about it now. Government orders the release of 102,000 metric tons of rice and maize. That's the latest. Your take on that? Possibly to address, the food situation.
Well, Femi,
Yeah.
it's sad that most times when you ask questions like this, I don't like the fact that I always want to sound negative.
But isn't this a good gesture?
Well, Femi, we've been through
To
this.
address
We've been through
the
this
situation.
route a couple of times, Femi. The COVID-19 palliative, I can say in Osun, I was a bit part and parcel of it. At least I have I saw how the process was meant to.
Yeah.
Across my street where I live, I can tell you not a single household get a grain of rice or whatever from the palliative.
Maybe you live in an elitist
I don't live in
environment.
an elitist. I mean, do I look like an elite? Do I look like someone that has money?
You look
No,
like.
I don't. What do you say?
Continue.
So we've been through this route a couple of times. Don't forget also, when we removed the subsidy last year, sorry, when the president announced the removal of the subsidy last year,
Yeah.
they went out, we are releasing 8,000 bags of rice for each state. Now, let's calculate 8,000 bags. Osun is a state of about 4-point-something million people. How do you divide that across the poorest of the poor in the state? So for me, I'm not a fan of all
Is
this.
it that is it not good or it is not enough?
Number one,
102,000 metric tons.
Number one thing, I feel
That's quite much.
I feel in most cases the way we go about it is not the best way.
The handling
the handling,
of the distribution.
it doesn't get to the people that needs them.
Right.
Let me tell you vividly, Femi, I was at Abiri when they were, the government bought about, I think 1,000 plus bags of rice then. And I had an APC chieftain there say, anybody that I don't see his name on our party register will not give him this rice. He said it explicitly there at Abiri when Governor Itola was about to launch the bag of rice that the state. So it won't get to the. So for someone that is not a party member and is poor, in the mind of the government, we've rolled out food to these people. But in the mind of one party chieftain in the local council or in the world, you are not a member of our party, I won't give you this rice.
Maybe that's a portion that belongs to the party, isn't it?
It's not.
Can that be the situation?
It's not. It's not. I was there right then and there. It was the palliative that the state government said, okay, we are going to share rice, go to the world level, make these people, at least people were under law.
So it's the workability of these things that you have
and
issues
also
with.
the reality that, okay, so let's give, for instance, Femi, you were given the bag of rice. Give or take a family of 4 or 5 in 3, 4, 5 months, you are done with the rice.
Yeah.
So what happens after the rice? How many bags of rice will the government keep giving over and over again? What we are saying is make the economy work. Make the purchasing power of the people work right. If all those things happen, people will care less about what rice you are giving out, what grain of whatever you are giving out. Right. People will be able to purchase themselves. Then it will be the poorest of the poor that you can now have a food bank for. People can walk in, get their food, and go back to the house.
All right, that will be all from the front page of The Guardian.
All right, from The Guardian, we move straight to the Punch newspaper for this morning. 14-day strike notice, FG Labour differ on aborted peace deal. Be patient, Nigeria cannot afford strike at this time. Minister begs Labour, seeks cooperation. Hunger, insecurity wrecking Nigeria. NLC, TUC lament, say 14-day notice begins today. Tinubu plans 2,000 houses in 12 states by December. And we can see the picture of the president there. Away from that, APC stalwart Ojugbo, 3 others die watching Super Eagles South Africa penalties. We just had a discussion on that earlier on. May their souls rest in peace. Motorists seek extension of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway street lights. And FG MultiChoice agreed to $37 million tax settlement. Top strip, the Punch newspaper for this morning. Banks dollar sale falls as Naira weakens to 1,479 Naira to a dollar. Government orders 100,000 metric tons of grains release, warns hoarders. And foreign airlines fear $200 million loss over Naira depreciation. All right, Deji, let me take you on this. President Tinubu plans 2,000 houses in 12 states by December. And according to reports, these houses will be available to every... Why are you smiling? Why are you laughing? But according to reports, these houses will be available to every Nigerian. It will not be for a select few, but for every Nigerian. It doesn't matter your, the cadre you are economically. Your thoughts?
Well, I can tell you for free that those houses will not be meant for every Nigerian, irrespective of the cadre of economy you belong to.
It's already meant for them.
If you meet the required, if you meet the requirements.
What are the requirements? Those houses, will they be given out for free? How much does it cost to build a bungalow?
Nobody gives any house for free.
So what I'm saying is, in the real sense, Femi, those houses are not meant for all Nigerians. I'm telling you the reality.
But and those that meet the requirements.
They will tell no, so they should not use the word for every Nigerian, because the market woman at Alekunwodu that cannot afford maybe whatever deposit you are going to pay for these houses will not be able to get the house. That's the reality. Even you as a staff of Western Spring Television, you will look your pocket before you go and take a bid for these things. Yeah. So it's a good thing. See, we agree we have housing problems in Nigeria. But my problem most times is, we've seen it in the case of fertilizers. I say, okay, we buy, the federal government is sponsoring, we are buying fertilizers for farmers, we are giving out loans for farmers, and those loans eventually end up in the hands of political farmers. What I'm saying in essence is these things, well, a good one, we have housing problem in Nigeria, but how do we make sure that the people that need them are the ones that get them? See, let's forget all these grammars and not everything we are saying here. The people that need those houses, they will not get it. I can tell you that for free. The people that need them, the people that are suffering, because...
So the intention is okay. The intention is good.
The intention is good.
2,000 per state.
2,000 per state. In fact, if you can do more than that, good development. But in reality,
but will it get to the targeted audience?
What is their purchasing power?
Right.
On average, if the federal government wants to say, okay, we want to mortgage this house, we want to at least make you afford it, at least we'll go for nothing less than maybe about 10 million naira. So how do you want them to pay that money? Someone that cannot boast of saying everyone that I have a savings of 100,000 naira. I don't want them to buy this house.
Definitely. The way it's done all over the world is it's a mortgage, maybe 30 years moratorium.
Is this going to be a mortgage?
Yeah. If
you are going to mortgage something, it will be for someone that you have a source of. The way they mortgage things abroad, they know even the money they will release from your salary, they know it will be something that will not pinch you. It is something that when they remove the
that's why it's spread 20, 30 years.
Yes. But
so there's no pressure.
There won't be any pressure on you. It is something you can afford. But well, let's keep over
right.
that.
You know, sometimes when we second guess these intentions of the government, again, we should flip it to the other side that sometimes some Nigerians too are interesting people. Really. In the US or in the UK, the data is there.
Of course, yes.
They don't even need your salary account. You can't afford to default. The system knows everything about you. But then, unfortunately, we don't have that here yet. So if you apply as a person, Mr. X, and say, okay, I need this house, and it's okay, you agree 20, 30 years, and then, okay, let's just give it to you. You might want to see that a person that has that house, in the next 2 years, we sell it off.
I mean, we knew what happened with the Anchor Barras.
Yeah,
and then Japa,
and these are the
issues. But, you know, there have been calls in some quarters that the government should put a regulation on pricing for housing, I mean, rent. Because they believe that Nigerian landlords at the moment are
it's not even
charging
the
way
issue
overboard.
of the landlord. Somebody
went on,
something like that.
Someone should be paid monthly.
Someone went on Twitter yesterday or thereabout, and he said house agents in Oshogbo are thieves. Because you see them, they...
Maybe we should not generalize, just some of them.
Majority,
yeah.
Femi.
Agree.
The majority of them that you will meet.
Did you have my experience? So
of course, yes. Of course, yes. So I think these are things we should regulate. That's why I said
we'll talk about this in one of these
problems.
days.
We have the problem, and it's something we really need to look into and, you know, find a lasting solution.
That's why I talked about the Nigerian factor, some Nigerian people's factor in all of these things. The housing problem is there. The government are bringing maybe tidbits of let's help you people. And then there are some persons
that want to sabotage the stuff.
Estate agents. I'll give it to you. You guys are the We'll talk about this matter one of these days.
Yeah.
All right, moving on straight to the Vanguard. Vanguard newspaper right now. Education with tears. Hardship creating more indigent students. With riders, as students attend classes hungry. Students dropping out will exacerbate insecurity. ASU, NAPTAN, that's what they are saying. Student dropping out will exacerbate insecurity. That's coming from ASU and NAPTAN. Our situation pathetic. NANS, we are taking steps to make life better. Federal government, what steps? How are you taking it? With bold headline, hardship creating more indigent students. And of course, AFCON semi-finals, the sad news of the people that passed on. And NLC, TUC issue 14-day nationwide strike notice to federal government. And top strip, Port Harcourt refinery to begin operations as Shell supplies 475,000 barrels of oil. Protest, federal government malls food imports if hunger persists. Other release of 102,000 metric tons, we talk about that. Threatens hoarders of food stores, right? Edoguba, 16 parties notify INEC of primary elections. And that's where we are right now. Ladiji, let me take you up on these. We've talked about the 14 and is becoming interesting in Edo State. But the bold headline here is education with tears. Hardship creating more indigent students. You agree? Do you agree?
It's
situation in the country creating indigent students.
It is very, very sad.
Maybe I should give you the riders. As students attend classes hungry, student dropping out will exacerbate insecurity. That's coming from ASU and AFTAN. And situation pathetic by NANS, and federal government are saying we are taking steps to make life better.
The reality is, see, I'm not a fan of the government, and I don't always believe them. So maybe I should say this out. So because I've been on the streets to interview people. Last week I was in a community here in Osun. Femi, I'm talking about primary school now. Primary 1 and 2 uses a classroom. 3, 4 uses a classroom. 5 and 6 uses a classroom. That's 3 classrooms in the totality of the school. The headmistress of the school had the meeting with me outside of the school. they do not have toilets.
Here in Osogbo.
Not in Osogbo, but here in
Osun State.
In Osun State. In a community. I've been to places, you know, where when the government said, oh, we've renovated so number of, I've had to investigate, visited a couple of primary health care centers. Do you know, let me shock you, around here in Osogbo, very close to where we are, a particular primary health care center used candlelight to, what do they call this, delivery of babies?
Cesarean section.
Because they don't know, can they even do that?
Labor.
For labor.
Yeah.
Okay.
No light, no water for delivery, thank you. No water, no, all those things are there. So for all this, every now and then we are working on, this question I do ask, this is why I get angry with the government. The question I do ask is this: there is a problem with a government utility vehicle. There is a problem with where the governor is living. There is a problem of a governor is sick, they want to fly in abroad. You know that in the twinkling of an eye, money comes out. But when it becomes when it comes to the things that will benefit the citizen, that is when we have positive.
But is hardship really creating more indigent students?
Of course, yes.
Especially in our tertiary institutions.
In reality now, how many parents can even afford? You see many students now, they work while they, even though it happens abroad.
Yes.
But the kind of work people do here is just to make sure you don't go out there and beg for food. That's the reality. A particular government-owned school, here in Nigeria charges close to 1 million naira to study nursing. So if I have such a money, won't I take my daughter or my son to a private school? Right. Because I know the government school tomorrow, strike action will come in. So all these things, see, government just need to do the need. For enough of all this, we are working and we are trying to do this, we are trying to do that.
Intervention.
Put action, let there be intervention.
All right. That'll be all from the front page of the Vanguard.
Very quickly, we will look through Daily Independent newspaper for today. Subsidy removal agreement, NLC, TUC issue 14-day strike ultimatum to FG. We keep to promise. Come, let's discuss. FG tells Labour. Away from that, pensioners lament exclusion from minimum wage committee, lose 1,500 members to current hardship, to protest naked if not included in committee. Go all out for drug barons, cartel. Marwa charges NDLEA commanders. Tinubu says social media, a menace, must be regulated. Inflation, Naira crisis, insecurity top governors' first meeting in 2024. Tackling insecurity, appoint Yaya Bello defense minister. APC chieftain tells Tinubu. Tinubu Oborevori, Ibori, Mon, Cairo, Ojukwu. And red bottom strip, cyberbullying wraps to strengthen defamation legislation, says Abbas. Top corner, Tinubu orders release of 102,000 metric tons of rice, maize to crush prices, vows to go after hoarders of foodstuff. No increase in petrol prices, and NPC Limited assures Nigeria. All right, Ladeji, if you can do this in 1 minute. Tinubu says social media is a menace and must be regulated. This is not the first time that some people have called for the regulation of social media. Your thoughts?
It is sad that before APC came to power in 2015, you know, this was a platform they all used. You know, Yoruba people will say...
But can you compare 2015 to what we have now?
EVELYN, Yoruba people will say a killer doesn't want his sword to be taken over his head, just to show a sword on their head. They use social media perfectly then. They never thought about regulating it. Yes, there are excesses, there are cyberbullying.
That's why I wanted to even ask you. Beyond the president's age, do you think the social media should be regulated?
I will get there. Yeah. During Buhari's regime, see, man, if you look at the trajectory of events in Nigeria, for one, you will never believe the government. For one, you will never believe the government. Why? During Buhari's regime, you know, they said then, when they banned Twitter in Nigeria, they said, Twitter is coming to, you know, have an headquarters in Nigeria. We employ all the conditions that Nigeria gave them, they've met. Let me ask you, where is Twitter's headquarters in Nigeria now? They only banned Twitter then just for personal vendetta, because Twitter took, I think it took down a tweet from the
Mr. President's
presidency
tweet.
and whatever, just to show that I'm the president of Nigeria. Yes, we need to look at cyberbullying. I don't support it. When people do all those things, let them get it. It is because we leave people to say, okay, he has done it, let's forget. No, when anybody does anything wrong, let them get adequate punishment.
But is that not why they're saying regulation and not an outright ban?
It will serve as a deterrent to others that I don't get to do this. Then
people should be made responsible
for their actions.
For their takes.
But when government handlers are telling you, we want to regulate these things, they have their intentions, and I can tell you for free, their intentions are not good, because in reality, these people don't want criticism. You criticize them, then you become an enemy of the government. You saw the news about the women that led the protest in Niger State, the woman that started the protest is now in the police custody. Why? She expressed her fundamental human right. All right. But why did you get her arrested?
That's right.
And you know, the same social media they want to regulate, don't forget there is currently a verification that National Midwife, whatever, is trying to do now. It is where the campaign is going on now. Please, don't do this. You just want to cripple the few nurses. A nurse that is earning 30,000 naira, you want us to come and do verification for 300,000 naira.
Yeah.
That's wickedness in the highest places.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Ladeji, for your takes this morning. It has been an interesting one. Special thanks to Ladeji, Comrade Ladeji Alabi. You don't like that title?
Thank you, Comrade Evelyn.
I'm not a comrade, I'm just...
continue our conversation after the show.
All right. You know, these are the issues and we face it headlong. By the way, the labor, organized labor, the TUC, the NLC, they are talking. And of course, they are talking tough. We'll look into that after now. We'll go on this break. It's the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Let us inform you that we are live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television and of course on all the social media platforms. We'll go on this break. We'll return. All right, thank you for sticking with us. We start the conversation right now, as I said earlier, is about the organized labor, the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress mulling strike action a 14-day, or they have given the government rather, a 14-day ultimatum for them to come through with different demands, by the way. But firstly, some of them, the labor rather, and some of the affiliate bodies have complained that most of the agreements they've had in the past have not been followed, and that the situation in the country is really affecting their members. And so, but chief among those demands rather, is the increase in their minimum wage. And they are even saying it's not more about minimum wage, it's about living wage. And we've seen different amount, 200,000. In fact, the president of the NLC, Mr. Joe Ajero, has been quoted to say it's like the 200,000 suggestions cannot even work with the reality of what is on ground right now. And many persons are saying, where do we go from here? Remember that the federal government has put up a tripartite committee, rather, you know, to see to these issues, and say by March there should be something concrete as far as labor is concerned. Many, many things to really talk about. We have been joined this morning by Comrade LANRE FADAHUNSI. Comrade is a labor enthusiast himself and of course a public affairs analyst. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here. Morning to see you again.
Good morning.
Thank you. Yes, the organized labor are talking tough, you know, giving the government 14-day ultimatum to come through with something concrete. Many demands, many challenges on the ground, but then can we afford to go this route again? But firstly, is this the right thing to do for the labor, give an ultimatum? After a tripartite committee has been put in place.
I'm glad we've had this discussion before. And you recall at that time when people were saying, oh, 200,000 naira is too much, I said, wait a minute, factor it into dollars. That's about $200.
Right.
Then the exchange was around 1,000. Today it's about 1,500. So it makes it look unrealistic to most people. But I also made an analogy then that let's compare our democracy to other democracies, the chief of which is America. They claim to say, okay, your work minimum per hour should be like $10 minimum. About 12, 13, that's the idea. But let's say $10 per hour. 8 hours in a day gives you $80 a day. Multiplied by 5 working days is 40. I mean, $400 in a month. But now we're talking of $200 for a Nigerian worker. Then, now every other thing has escaped in terms of the ceiling of what prices could be. And you will also know that Labour was saying as far back as October 2023,
yes,
that was the agreement that has now been breached, that we are now still talking strike now. However, each time we discussed this, I always said it is better for government to discuss with organized labor. That in their pockets now, if the ripples of the so-called palliative issue that happened then, because if politicians really do learn, do you know a lot of homes of politicians were broken into? A lot of government offices during that palliative issue of that time. Now we are going close to that. It's even worse because the condition of hunger and whatever now, then it was anger of you kept some things away from us. But now it is palpable hunger in the whole land. There is no middleman anymore. You are either high up there or you are on the wrong bottom of the ladder. Now, organized labor is easy to discuss with. And government has been having these discussions over time, 3, 4 meetings, 5 meetings, over the same issue. And I recall I said, the very day Ashwaju said on the 29th of May that subsidy is gone, every filling station changed the price of PMS the following morning. Immediately. And of course, go to every terminals of vehicles, they change their prices immediately. They don't wait. 3, 4 days back, I bought gas at 1,000. Got there yesterday, 1,300. Those things do not wait for any meeting with anybody. It is market forces. The moment the price is this, where they get it, they increase and put their own profit margin. And so people that bought a bag of rice for 55,000 last 2-3 weeks are buying it at 75,000. Definitely they will change the price they sell per measure. So, I mean, and we are still discussing minimum wage. However, why I'm saying it is better because organized labor, by the name it is called, it is organized. You can know who you are talking to. You are talking to an Agero, you are talking to some leaders of the organized. But the moment you allow the street to take it over, you can't control that. Now, and it becomes an issue.
Yes, in that statement put out by the organized labor, they accused the government of reneging on its commitment, especially the agreement in October that they had, the highlights of when the government said we are going to put out the CNG-powered buses, palliatives, wage award for 6 months and the rest of them. Many persons have said the wage award has not been consistent, maybe one or twice. Yeah. For anybody that have received it. Yeah. In a statement signed by the leaders of the two labors, that's Joe Ajero and Festus Osifo, they said the majority, and they expressed their sadness that despite the passage of time, just like you have said, the majority of this crucial agreement to remain unmet or negligibly addressed, indicating a blatant disregard for the principles of good faith, welfare, and rights of Nigerian workers and Nigerians. Now, the organized labor said it was given the federal government 14 days from today, to fulfill its part of the MOU with the unions. And they went further to say that the agreement with the federal government reached was focused on addressing the massive suffering and the general harsh economic consequences of the ill-conceived and ill-executed IMF World Bank-induced hike in the price of PMS and the devaluation of Naira. This on one side. The government, through the Minister of Information, has come out to say, guys, please give us time. We can't afford this at this time. That's what the federal government is saying. And that they are on the matter. There is a committee that will see to some of this. But that committee is about wage increase, by the way. It's not really about the fulfillment of the previous contract. But then let me ask you, why do you think government always go through this route? It's not just with Ashwaju government. They agree, there is, pulling and pushing, You know, several meetings are being held. Sometimes they'll get angry, storm out of the meeting. At the end of the day, they will sign a joint statement with commitment on both sides, but it keeps happening. That one side is always reneging, and it's the government. Why are we always doing this?
Well, I'm not authoritatively saying this, but there is a memo flying around from Kume that is requesting for 1 billion to take care of the committee that wants to speak on minimum wage. You know, so some things.
Although that has been refuted.
It will be refuted. That's what I'm saying.
To say the government agreed only on 500 million.
No. The memo was requesting for 1 billion. Mr. President said, you first of all take 500. That was the approval. Do you get the drift? But that somebody could sit down somewhere and fathom that you'll be thinking, this is how those in government make those who are actually working with them look at them as unserious. How can you people be living the way? Look at what happened. Let me tell you the secret of what happened to Better Edu, and it happened in most ministries. Yeah. When you are going close to the end of the year, I was in the civil service for 22 years of my adult life, 2012, so I know what I'm talking about. When it's close to the end of the year, the last 3 months, in some votes of government, there is money. And some people believe, I mean, ordinarily, if you don't spend it, you must return to treasury before you begin the new year. And so people look for documents and stuff to move it away. That was what happened. And it is, in some instances, with collusion with other workers and all. But the truth is, we that saw all of these things you people are doing, and you treat us like we don't count. It is in Nigeria that you cannot factor the wage of politicians directly like that. You can say, you can Google the American president's salary, and you know that he can't take out of that. An American president will pay for the meal he eats in the. So look at it this way. If that might also be for us, because they said OHIOLEI sent a message that, look, reduce the fleet. You can even sell them off. The presidential fleet of aircraft. The Nigeria as a nation kept spending money this illegal way, and we don't have one single aircraft in Nigeria belonging to Nigeria Airways. I mean, are we serious at all? Two things I have said here, that there are statesmen and there are merchants. It depends on the kind of orientation that leadership brings, that gives us what we can hopefully, look at. Now, for instance, people are saying, what's government doing? We have seen government spending expensively. What stops a minister of finance going for a finance conference, and you now have about 50 people going, and you are saying you're a poor nation? Do people like that you attend meetings with take you serious? We have seen people in Nigeria who will attend parties and be spraying $100 bills. An American considers a dollar bill as a signpost beyond the American flag, the next to American flag, that this is the identity of our nation. But what have we done to our own naira? We have destroyed it, we have desecrated on it, and then we now expect workers to be the ones to bear the brunt. A professor earns this much per hour, the least paid, and when you equate that, you know that that's a system that is justiciable. So we have a nation now. For instance, we said it then that, look, we cannot dollarize our economy and expect to survive. Recall, some 6 months back, if you remember, Femi. Now, they said the government is thinking about that. Do you know why it took that long? Because people in government are exposed to dealing in these things themselves. And majority of the people in government now have not been in the forefront of governance in the days of Buhari. So it's like, our own time has come. And that's why some of them could not rein themselves in and be moral about it, that this exposed that we're seeing in all of these financial issues.
All right, Comrade FADAHUNSI, you would agree with me that one of the pressing issues in Nigeria at the moment is food security, food scarcity, and all of that. And we just learned that the President has ordered the release of 100,000 metric tons of grains. The Minister of Information made that known. It said, quoting him, that the first one is that the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has been directed to release about 42,000 metric tons of maize, millet, gari, and other commodities. And the second one is that we have held meetings with the Rice Millers Association of Nigeria, who are responsible for the production of this rice. And also, they can guarantee that about 60,000 metric tons of rice will be also, released. What is your take on this? Do you think this is a short-term solution, at least, for the now, before we talk about the long-term solution?
Now, when you take one step, two steps, and I don't see you moving forward, if you're telling me I want to take the fourth and fifth steps, I'll be wondering how. You are here, Evelyn. Let's be realistic. We are in the studio. Did you get any palliative rice from anybody? Did you, Femi? I did not. Are you not a Nigerian? And when there's something that has a ripple effect on every Nigerian is supposed to benefit. I said it here that, look, if we say we have 200 million Nigerians, and we were told, go get your BVN. The CEO of your company here, if they say 25,000 naira to bank account holding Nigerians, you would have gotten that. You won't wait for a honorable member to come to your ward, or you wait for a chairman of a local government. Do you get the drift? At least in the banking system can factor off 100 million Nigerians from the 200. Okay? So Dangote will get 25,000 naira, Femi will get 25, LANRE will get 25 as Nigerians. Because the government has made a policy, but deliberately people don't do that. Look at the Better Edu case, the Edugate issue, that consultants are getting millions for factoring documents that were used by the previous administrations. We even knew one of the, one of the financial officers that retired from that same ministry was one of the consultants that got money. Now, all of this is telling us deliberately, we know the best way to approach issues. Now, if you have taken 100 million off, you look at, okay, those who don't have the regular accounts, the OPay phone number stuffs, get a name each for each person. You remove more from that. That one, you don't need a third party. You don't need to attend party meetings. You are a Nigerian, you are getting this. But it didn't happen. So for this grain issue, you begin to wonder, are they taking the grains to the market?
Do you think that is deliberate? Not to do what works?
I will now tell you. I'll tell you why it looks deliberate.
Because some would think this is an intervention that should be praised.
Lo and behold, brother, the money that EFCC said they retrieved, 30 billion from Farouk, was supposed to have been given to people.
All right.
By the records. And they would have got documents that they would have posted, that the money has gone.
All right.
You get. So the deliberation and in this is that when things like that are discovered, people have used documents to cover, that money is somewhere else. Take that money. How do you identify those traders who get? It's not, you can't account for it. But what makes accounting easy are those things that are biometric, that are documented, that are captured.
That can be traced.
Can be traced.
All right. We'll continue this conversation. There's still Morning Spring. We'll go on this break, and when we'll come back, the opinion and the takes will be widened. Stay with us. All right, the conversation, you're welcome back. It's still about the organized labor's decision to give the federal government 14 days ultimatum to say, hey guys, please do what you have to do. Let's, to avoid a strike action. And that's what they are saying. And we have COMRADE LANRE FADAHUNSI speaking to us on some of these issues. And we are being joined again by COMRADE ABIMBOLA ARAPASOPO. He's the labor chair, the NLC, Nigeria Labour Congress chairman for OSUN State. Definitely is the #1 labor man here in OSUN. Thank you for joining us, COMRADE.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, the parent body, that's the NLC, TUC nationally, are speaking, and they are saying from today, the 14-day ultimatum starts for the federal government to do the needful. The OSUN NLC, are you in support of that?
No, of course, we'll be joining.
That's pure and simple.
That's all.
But when we say that, what are those issues, or those were stated that the government are being insincere, especially about previous agreement, especially that one in October, that is either they have not done it well or they have not even done it at all. Let me even ask, there is this wage award that was, you know, mulled by the federal government to say for the next 6 months, workers are going to be having this. You are the labor chair. What are you hearing? Has that been consistent for the federal government?
As far as I'm concerned, on the part of federal government, they are not sincere at all. And a few days ago, you discovered the union of the construction workers union, you know, were on 3 days warning strike. And I believe they've been able to reach an agreement. And we hope federal government will definitely abide and also concur with that agreement. And to their part, you discovered federal government is not sincere, and it's like they are not feeling the parts of the masses. They are not feeling that heat. There is heat everywhere. My dear brother, people are dying day by day. Hungry is everywhere. And it's like they feel no concern about it. And the only thing they hear is when you give them an ultimatum of strike. And when you go on strike, I think federal government will do the needful at the right time.
And that's why you are giving them this 14-day ultimatum. Now, in October, it was agreed that there will be CNG-powered buses rolled out. There will be distribution of grain and, you know, farm seedlings to farmers and the rest of them, and many things. The palliative thing was done as well. During December, we had the federal government say for some particular transport companies, people should go there along some roads so that they will get these things free. One would say at least they are making an effort. Shouldn't that be, you know, applauded? At least the government, they are doing something.
I believe you are a Nigerian. Can you just can you see it anywhere? Have you been able to meet or see?
You are the labor chair. Maybe you should have information more than I do.
The answer to this is federal government is not sincere, and that's all.
Insincerity.
At all. So the only thing we can do now is to hold the federal government, I will use the word ransom.
Because you think that's the only language they
That's the only
understand.
language. That's the only language. We can't sit down and fold our arms as if we are not Nigerians, we don't know what is happening. People are dying, my dear brother. People are suffering everywhere in Nigeria. So the only thing we can do is just to set it right.
But the government have said, please give us more time. I know you know that we don't have the money.
For how long are you going to do that?
I'm coming. That the economy is in ruins. We took over from a bad economy. I mean, took over the government that gave us a bad economy. So give us time. We will address these. We don't have the money. Do you think they have the money and they are not spending it?
We are Nigerians. And I believe they know what to do. Who will not teach them
what should they do?
Who will not teach them what to do? The holy...
But you are giving them 14-day ultimatum.
Yes.
So what do you expect them to do?
It was unanimously agreed at the last meeting. And we will definitely hold that and stand by that. An hungry man does not listen to anything. As it is now in the country is tense, my dear brother. So the only music is give us those things, go back to other agreement, and can you do the needful, and that's all.
These 14 days, is it for them to make through of their promises in the past or for you to just talk?
It is left for them. We still have the room. We still have time for us to talk or to discuss, at least based on the agreement. But what we are saying is that federal government, please do the needful.
All right, Comrade, while you're holding the federal government by the jugular, one would want to ask, to what end will this actually make an impact? Because we have seen over time where the labor will threaten to go on strike, and the federal government will get a court injunction to stop that strike. And that's like one instrument they use all of the time. So if peradventure that same instrument is used in this instance, will your union bow to this pressure?
Well, I wouldn't want to, go down deep into that. But when we get to the bridge, we know how to cross it.
When you get there.
We know how to cross it.
But you understand that, do you think the federal government might want to use that to stop this, or do you think they will come to the table for negotiation with you, or they will go out to fulfill the agreement?
They should. if truly they have what we call humanitarian feelings, my dear sister, people are dying. People are hungry.
Even Osun State.
Everywhere, people are hungry.
All right, let's talk about, let's leave the federal government a bit. Many persons would rather say, I think we pay too much attention on the government at the center. What are the states government doing? You are the Labour chair, NLC chair for Osun State. Like, we can castigate, we can condemn the federal government. Are the state government doing better? In Osun State, are your members, members of the Nigeria Labour Congress, are they faring better? Are they getting what they deserve from the government of Osun State? At least you are in charge of that. Yeah.
Honestly speaking, I want to be sincere.
Please do.
There's need for me to give it to His Excellency, Senator Dr. Ademola Nuruddin Jackson Adeleke. Okay. Ever since he came on board, I want to, on behalf of the NLC, the workers of Osun, I want to, appreciate him and give kudos to him for his rancor-free approval of workers' welfare and packages. And it's no more a news that ever since he came on board, the word AFUSA, he has been paying those backlogs, arrears of workers in the states. And back to the pensioners. A month ago, you discovered he rolled out 2.9 billion, and that will be the first ever in the States. What the previous government was doing was less than $1 billion, 500 million, 700 million. But when he came on board, you discovered he's a people's governor. And this is not just a man that believes everything has to do with dancing. There is time for us to dance and enjoy ourselves.
Are you saying the state workers are faring better?
Very, very, in the states.
They're faring better?
Yeah, I'm from Osun State.
And they enjoy under the government of the day.
We are
doing everything possible, as in having everything that they wanted under the government.
Of course, he's doing his best. And
is that best good enough?
I really want to appeal to His Excellency to continue on this good gesture towards putting smile on the faces of workers in Abia State.
Comrade, that was a wage award promised by the same Osun State government, when other governments were promising wage awards of different amounts from last year. As the government of the day started paying.
That of January has been released.
When was it supposed to start?
It started December. And December was paid, and before we had this crossover, and that of January also has been paid to all workers in the state.
All right, many state governments, many workers rather, either you're working for the federal government or the state, are saying, let our minimum wage be increased. But the Osun workers, you are okay with what you have. There's no need for that.
We are all over.
Because you are praising the government to the high heavens, and it appears like, just leave us. We are fine.
No, my dear brother. Once you are doing what is right, the only thing we know is put smile on the faces of our people. Once you're able to do that, then we will appreciate you.
Then that means 30,000 naira, which is giving you smile right now, is okay.
No, don't go there, my dear brother.
No, I'm there already.
We will definitely, after that of the federal government is done, we'll come back to our own dear state and negotiate, not minimum wage. What we are going to negotiate in our state is living wage. Whatever you are going to give us, whatever packages you are going to give us, should be something we can live on. And that's all.
But, Comrade, is it true that most labor unions in the state, I mean the state chapter, they are redundant? They don't really, we don't really get to see them. It is only when we hear something from the federal that they also attach themselves and get to work. Is that how it's supposed to be? You only work when the federal say, the federal unit or the national, sorry, the national body. Body says something.
No, it doesn't work that way. And I want to appreciate God for giving me this opportunity to come and serve. I think we will try to make some changes and we'll get there.
How about people saying that, before I come to Comrade FADAHUNSI now, that most state chapters of labor unions are, in a kind of way, puppets, permit me to use that word, of the state government, that they are already bought over. That's why you see them, not just in Osun State, in many states, that, in fact, when the elections are being conducted, some state government handlers are the ones sponsoring these moves, that they are just there. They are people that the government have put there to serve their interests.
Yeah.
Is that the case in your case?
We are all human.
Yeah.
You can't rule that out sometimes. But in our home case, it was a free and fair. We are allowed to play our game the way we play it. And in that of OSUN, it was a kind of labor to labor, not government to labor.
Comrade, I'm not even talking about the election. I mean, let me ask you categorically, Comrade ARAPASOPO, are you a supporter of the Adeleke government?
Well, I am an employee. He's my employer.
Okay.
And
but you're also a labor chair.
Our loyalty should be that of the government of the day. But if they are getting it right, why would I support them? Well, if they are doing it in the other way, then they'll see the other way around.
So you're supporting them, right?
We will support them if they are doing it. And like you're seeing in that of their state, Mr. Governor is getting it right, and that's it.
He's getting it
He's
right.
getting it
so
right.
You're supporting
We
him.
are supporting him, and we will continue to support him.
But does that give you the opportunity to ask tough questions, hard questions? Like when you see your employer, you said Mr. Governor is your employer, which I concur, too. But when you see your employer not doing it right, do you get that chance to ask him hard questions, tough questions?
We will face them and we will make them know that it is when our people are smiling that we will smile.
But last year, we heard that there were rollout of grains, rice to different local governments in the state. But some residents, some Osun State residents said they didn't even see anything. While some said the portion that reached us was just 2 cups.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous quantity.
Yeah.
So is that not one of the questions you should be asking the government of the day?
I was not on board then. I just came on board. And even at that, even if federal government should give us that of maybe thousands on thousands, it can go round.
But even if it can go round, you are there for the welfare of your members, right? And so, even if it won't go round, your own should be secured firstly. Are you concerned about that?
About workers?
Yeah. No. About even if things will not go round in the state, your members should know that our chair should get our own portion.
And that is why we are saying government must get it right. Once they get it right, we have no problem with that.
Yes, I said I was going to come to Comrade FADAHUNSI the other time. But before I come to him, permit me to ask you, inflation is crazy right now. When you go to a store,
it's even everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I'm just trying to narrow it down to reality that even the store beside your house, if you go there for a particular item, if you return there tomorrow, the price will have changed. How are your members coping?
Honestly speaking, we are only
Do you hear from them? Do they speak to you?
They are lamenting. This is not an issue of Osun State alone. It's an issue that concerns all Nigerians. And we are part of Nigeria. And you should know it's affecting everybody. And everything, we'll have to put everything on federal government. They should just get it right.
You are putting everything on federal government. You think states cannot help out in this matter? We will pay too much attention to the
allocation.
The states only try their best. They only try their best to push it. Right. But something must come from the top.
And what would that
federal government
be? What would that thing be?
They have their way of doing things. They have their way of, bringing down this, suppressing this issue of hardship.
They can handle it. If they want to handle it.
They can, if they are sincere.
Comrade FADAHUNSI, so many persons are saying it's like the chicken has come out to roost. May 29, the government, Ashiwaju said, the subsidy regime is gone. And since then, you have spoken to that. The center will no longer hold again. Everything skyrocketed, and we are here right now. People can hardly feed rather. Pockets of protests have started in Mina, in Suleja, in Kano.
Ogun.
Yeah, and many persons want to say, okay, maybe it was, the federal government has even, and the APC rather, has come out to say it was sponsored by the opposition parties.
The ones of 2015 were they not sponsored? Wasi was playing at Ojota. All these musicians were there. They were giving food to people.
But even the reality,
against removal of
the
subsidy.
reality right now is is this not visible for the eye to see?
My brother,
Does this thing needs to be sponsored?
Now, it doesn't have to be.
Where do people go from there?
That's where we come to the real brass tacks. These things were not sponsored. People were fed up. Market women who were selling fish in Kwara went to the government and said, tell these people not to bring fish again. Yeah. We are the ones selling. Of course, those selling should do not bother, because the day they get there, they meet 60,000 from 40.
To corroborate what you are saying, some of them even say, we are selling it, we can't eat it.
You understand what I'm saying?
We can't afford it.
Now, the point now is this. How did we get here? On the policy thrust of this administration of Asiwaju within 2 months.
But they say it's a necessity. We just have to go that route.
Let me tell you.
We can't afford
to keep paying subsidy. That is why. No, let me now tell you something. That is why we, as labor, what organized labor does is coming to the table with superior arguments. Why not leave us as we are? It took Buhari 8 years to go from 200 naira to $1. 8 years to get to 450 central bank margin. Benchmark, yeah. 8 years. And the black market then was 750. 8 years. In 8 months, you have gone from that 450 to 1,500. What government are you running?
They are giving their reasons.
No, let me tell you the reasons they are giving.
Have you had their reasons?
Wait a minute. Let me tell you. Yeah. Here in this studio, I've told you the dollarization of Nigerian economy is what is killing us. Yeah. No, 90% of Nigerians have never seen a dollar before. One, they have not seen it before. Is it dollar that you need to plant yam, maize? You are not securing the farms. Farmers can't go. They do a lot of agriculture in Ekiti. They can't go to farms again. It's been taken over. The primary function of government is the security of life and property. Sure. That has been eroded under this administration. Worst in the history of the nation. What have you done? Now, in economy, I'm telling you, the mercantile attitude of leadership is what is causing all this. Because now they have taken a policy that I said 6 months ago, we wouldn't have gone this route. I said, do stop dollarization of our economy. In the past, if you want to go to London, you get a traveler's check from CBN. Okay, I have 200,000 naira. Give me the value in pound sterling, and you go with just one leaf of the check. Now the government is saying you can't use dollar on our streets again. After they have stockpiled a policy trust that will change this, let any government come and charge. Even Cardozo, I challenge Cardozo. Yeah. Tell Nigerians 1 week. Bring every dollar you have at 750. Cut it from that 1.5. That 4 days after, we are bringing it to 500. People will bring out the dollars.
Comrade, speaking about Cardozo, he has spoken to the National Assembly, and he has been speaking. He said, that too much dollars are in circulation, by the way. And he spoke to the fact that, okay, the policy we are going to take, let every bank, he said it, sell off. He gave them 1 day their excess dollars that they have, and let everybody just do what they have to do. And then he blamed this issue of the Forex on two things. People going for medical tourism, that they are putting much pressure on dollar, and people people going for education abroad. The Japa route is putting
understand?
Pressure.
Have you gotten the fact of what I was saying?
Yes.
Give them a check. And they said, how can somebody say he wants to go and trade in China? You are giving him dollars.
And he said they are addressing it. So isn't that something to count on?
Addressing it.
The subsidy can never be reversed. Actually, you have said that separately.
If people had listened, you said subsidy. Now you are saying you want to harmonize the exchange rate. Don't we have black market now? Yeah. No. I mean, that was why he took that position. Yeah. If he had not taken that position, we won't come this, the floating, we won't come this route this fast. But you said it almost immediately. That 750 now was almost looking like the starting point of the official. And before we knew what was happening, could say Jack Robinson, we are 1,500. But that's destroyed everything.
Comrade FADAHUNSI, don't you think that this is a road to recovery? I mean, we've had the Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, say that where we are right now is better than where we were when they took over the reins of government, the reins of power, that this is a road to recovery. It's like a building with a faulty foundation, and we brought it down, and we're starting from the scratch.
Let me tell you this, and I know Nigerians are listening now. People are listening outside.
You don't agree with Wale Edun on that?
At all. It's a coven of people dealing with us. And that's the reality. Hello, who does it affect? If you tell Nigerians, from today, if you need dollars, go to CBN. If they are convinced you need it, they'll give you a check. From the Nigeria's savings and reserve, go and collect. The banks will honor it because you have that reserve in your till. But when people collect from CBN at 700, they will not take it to one bureau de change and start exchanging for people. They don't travel anywhere to do business. They're selling the dollar. But if you make it look, Fela was jailed because he kept the money of his bandsmen in his pocket in this same Nigeria. So why are we following this route now? We all know what it is. Agriculture, put food on people's table. Do we have to eat foreign rice? Production, when we are talking about, look, talk of production and not consumption.
Why did that?
Hello, no.
He locked the borders. He said, farmers,
which borders?
Grow,
I will now tell you.
Grow these things.
I said it then.
And people vilified it.
I did Cotonou business when I retired. When you get to Cotonou, people going up north, they take the left route. We coming to Nigeria by way of the west, we go right route. Those going enter through Niger. Niger, no walls at the border. They just remove the stick from the drum and people going. Did you not hear in Nigeria, there was a time they were selling rice at 16,000, 17,000 in the north, but here we were selling at 35. That place it goes in, they blocked our side. Was it ordinary that they brought a Burachai, a former general, to come and be at the border of our side? Look, we don't need an Igbo to tell us that some things are being done were done against us at that time. But the truth is this. Let our farmers go to the farm, secure the farms with the army. Food insecurity is part of the security.
Is that workable?
This is
how many farm settlements will soldiers go to?
Not soldiers, you on parade. Soldiers, NSCDC and all this. Concentrate all those security. One AK-47 is like 100 people. You are telling Amotekun to carry them gun. Some people are carrying AK-47 automatic rifle. One person carrying automatic rifle is 100 people carrying one gun each. So the point to is this, because I want us to emphasize this so that the people will know that create production of food. Let everybody do it. We have graduates. Graduates, we will pay you graduates pay, allowances and all, but you will go to the farm. We produce food.
Is that a quick fix or something for the future?
No, it's not supposed to be for the future. There has been a planting season during the days of Ashiwaju. You must come with arguments of things that will work.
But that's also the case of insecurity.
Wait a minute. We said it then when we were talking that you said there were modular refineries. There was a time NNPC imported fuel that was spoiling people's cars. So if you say modular refineries, they are illegal, fine. Legalize them. You check their products out. Is it kerosene good? Is the PMS good? If it is, then support them. Give them oil. You will refine, we will take the products off.
They should standardize that production.
But they quit bombing it because they are the ones who benefit from the stolen oil. Those who are bombing them were the ones who benefit from the stolen crude, the stolen PMS and all the rest.
Now, sorry.
So once that problem is solved that way, we take care of those problems within.
All right. We are pressed for time. Comrade ARAPASOPO, let me come back to you. Many persons have accused the labor of losing their grit, their teeth. That, they are just there to negotiate money. That's all. Once that is settled, they are fine. Many have accused your leadership at the center. And I'm sure you've had people possibly in your short time as a chairman that have accused you of saying you're already bought over. The moment the government calls labor leaders, they go into their meetings. When they come back, the story changes. We've seen threats of strike action severally, and it has been cancelled. What will you say to those who don't believe in the labor movement again? Because many persons will say the days of Ayuba Awaba, the days of Adam Shomole, these are when the labor has its teeth. But right now, it's girls who pays the piper dictate the tunes.
Well, I want to start by saying if you don't want people to say anything about you, avoid popularity. That's it. And on that case, honestly speaking, the labor at the center, they are doing their best. They are trying their best.
But even you don't seem
it
impressed.
seems you have something to say, but you don't want to be seen sabotaging the
No, it's not even
center.
that. We are trying our best. And I want to say this loud and clear. The stage we are now, we are beyond, gone are those days that when you have something to negotiate, agitate, you start table banging. Life is above table banging. Now it is you using your intuition, what you have upstairs.
Do you think the government of the day, at the center, the subnational, do you think they understand that? That you can just have this conversation, intellectual ones, and there will be no banter, everything will just go smoothly. Has it been working?
At times it's working, and that is why the 14 days ultimatum is being given to the national.
Do you think this strike action could be averted? Do you think the government should be sincere enough?
If they want to.
But the labor is ready to
We
go
are
to the streets.
very absolutely, we are ready. If federal government or the government, in quote, if they are sincere and if they are ready, if truly they are serving the masses, the voiceless people, then they will definitely do the needful, and that's all. It solves everything.
All right, thank you, Comrade. FADAHUNSI, pocket of protests here and there. Do you see this spreading across the country, and what will be the impact?
That has been my greatest fear since we started this conversation about this minimum wage. That government should discuss with organized labor, because it is organized. You can picture Ajero and talk to COMRADE ARAPASOPO in OSUN and all the rest, but these people are spontaneously taking it up, and when they do that, you can't control that. You can't hold anybody responsible for it, and that's the more reason why they should come to terms with the reality of it. For instance, COMRADE was saying, okay, after the negotiation at the national, they will still probably come home. Yeah. But my own position is very simple. Now, if the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission fixes salaries of politicians, whatever makes a commissioner in OSUN earn, the recommendation should make a worker of OSUN and the recommendation at the federal. So whatever percentage of what you are offering OSUN workers is what you should collect as well. No head is bigger than the other.
And state governors are part of that tripartite commission as well.
So because governors will earn what all governors across the country is earning, the commissioners will earn, the local government chairman will earn based on Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission's recommendations. And the state, you now think we want to draw down the workers and say, because we don't have, what does not make it possible for us to have money enough to pay workers, we cannot pay politicians too. So let us just take it that way. So if it is 50%, we agree to 50%. Yes, should be source for propaganda.
Thank you.
So that conversation will not now be stretching again. We don't mind. If you want to give us 50% of federal recommendation, you to collect 50%.
All right. And Comrade, I take this as a parting shot. 5 seconds, we can do this. Do you trust the administration and the leadership of Asiwaju to turn the corner, economic-wise?
I've said it before. It takes one man.
Is it the man?
It depends on him. The will to do. If he says today, I told you before then that Thomas Sankara was one man, and he said, I have collected illegally some amount, I'm returning it. That tells you restitution. I have restitution. So if he wants you should do. So if he wants to, one man, he will do it.
But do you trust him to?
Oh, well, I mean, because of the first thing I observed was that picking 24 years ago team to still run a southwest part of this government puts trust away from me.
Thank you very much, Comrade LANRE FADAHUNSI, public affairs analyst, and of course, a labor enthusiast. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Comrade ABIMBOLA, ARAPASOPO, the labor #1 in Osun State. That's the NLCA chairman for Osun State. We wish you and your team all the best. Thank you for joining us today. Evelyn, we have to go.
Yes, we have to go. It's been a robust conversation with the comrades in the studios this morning, but the conversation continues. Remember that you can drop your thought and comment on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Western Spring Television. My name is EVELYN OHIOLEI, and you know what time it is? After morning spring, there comes Spring Trends right after now.
All right, Femi Ojo is my name. Be the reason why somebody will smile today. God bless Nigeria. Bye-bye.